Rest in peace to Orenthal James Simpson, also known as O.J. Simpson, or some people might refer to him as the Juice. He passed away at the age of 76. And what's ironic about that is he passed around the same time of year that Nicole Simpson and Ron Goldman was unfortunately murdered. And I think he O.J. Simpson died, I guess, probably a few days prior to of the anniversary of the murder of Nicole Simpson and Ron Goldman. And he died of what they call it prostate cancer. And rest in peace to him. And my prayers go out to the family. I don't really know too much about this case. Of course, I know about this case in the trial, but I don't really know it too well. It's because I knew about it. Of course, I knew about it, but I don't know it as well as when, like, as it being live on television. Because at that time, I was a young kid. I think when that trial went on, I was in elementary. And I remember both of my grandmothers was looking at it. And my aunt and my uncles, I remember they all was looking at it. And at that time, one thing I thought about was cartoons, Power Rangers, toys, and stuff. Because, you know what I'm saying, that's what I do for most of the day. But times, especially when I come home from school, maybe an hour or two later, the trial used to come on. I was like, I want to watch something else on TV. And for some reason, they said, no, we watching this trial. And I was thinking at the time, what is so important about this trial? Well, of course, now as an adult and knowing a little bit more about sociology and everything, it makes very much sense why this trial was very important. It's like one section of the community versus another part of the community. Some people identify themselves as OJ, and some people identify themselves as Ron Goldman and Nicole Simpson. Not the fact that they care about them because they don't even know them, but to be blunt, it's more about black versus white. That what this trial kind of referred to. Now that I knew a little bit about it after digging in research and stuff. And this case, some people say that was a trial of the century, but I wouldn't say trial of the century. I would say that was a more of the most fair trial. And I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of black people was rooting for OJ, because it's not the fact that they care about OJ as much like that, but it's just a reason. The reason for this is black people for the longest has been railroaded in the criminal justice system and even been accused of doing crime that they didn't do. And this trial represents, like, basically, in a way, in a nutshell, how the system could work with us instead of against us for a change, in which it did when he was acquitted. And that trial, even as to this day, I think it overshadowed some of the contribution that OJ did, and even him being a great football player. I believe he played for the 49ers, and he was real great, and he was one of the greatest running backs. And also, not just with football, but he was a good actor. He appeared on commercials like Hertz, and a lot of people admired OJ. OJ was that guy back then until he was accused of the murder. Now, if you want to wonder if you think that I think OJ did it or not, I have my own opinion about it, but I can't really say it, because the reason why is because I can say certain things, but it could be false narrative because none of us was there. Let's keep it real. But based on evidence and some of the statements that was made, and I have like I said, I have my own personal opinion about it, but I just don't want to discuss it. But now I understand why a lot of my people, especially when I say my people, I talk my family, was happy that OJ Simpson got released, and it was due to this situation, the infamous situation of if it don't fit, he must have quit. That was stated by the great, phenomenal Johnny Cochran. He came up with that statement. If the gloves don't fit, he must have quit. And as you see on this picture, those gloves was too small for him. And that right there was symbolic to everybody. Now I didn't know, because I asked a lot of older people who actually remember the trial very well, because at the time they were adults. And I was like, how did people react it when he was found not guilty? And they told me that they were celebrating. Some of them had like cookout and partying and stuff, and saying, "Good, the black people win." I'm like, wow. Like I didn't know any of that going on, but the only thing I remember hearing about was, if I'm not mistaken, they had a TV on and they said OJ was free like that. And I think when he got acquitted, I think I might have been in school at that time. And when I got home, from what I remember, I hear a lot of people talking about OJ quit, OJ's free, and I heard it seemed like people in my house was happy that he got free, that he was found not guilty, and I remember that situation very well. Of not when he got free, but how overheard them talking about OJ Simpson is innocent. I think I remember hearing them say that, and I was a little boy then. But I like to bring up Johnny Cochran. This man let out a lot of people, from what I heard. Of course, his biggest trial was the OJ trial, and I say OJ Simpson couldn't ask for a better lawyer than Johnny Cochran. But let me get back to the screen. Other than the trial and everything, and also the time he served prison for, they say, robbery and kidnapping. I don't know. It had something to do with his sports memorabilia, and he spent like over a decade in prison. Despite all of that, O.J. Simpson had one big life. He contributed to a lot of stuff. Whether you like him or not, you must admit to it. But again, rest in peace to O.J. Orenthal James Simpson, and prayers goes out to his family, and he will be missed.